Okay, story time. You're about to find out so much about me, but here we go. Okay. In February of 2018, my then husband and I went on a trip to Sedona, Arizona to celebrate our 5-year wedding anniversary. And we were staying at this like amazing spa that had all these really incredible treatments, but they weren't just physical like massages, things like that. There were things like that, but there were also really spiritual things because Sedona is an extremely sacred spiritual place. For many indigenous groups, they believe it to be where life began. So it's this very spiritual, amazing, sacred place. And so there were lots of like rituals and different things that we got to be a part of, led by indigenous people and trained practitioners that were honoring the land and things like that. While we were there, he let me know that he did not want to have kids anymore. And this was something that was a really big deal because I had always known growing up that like the one thing I wanted to be when I grew up was a mom. Anytime somebody would ask like, and I was like super good at school, and when people would ask me what I wanted to be when I grew up, like the only thing that I really knew I wanted to do was to be a mom. And before we had gotten married, because also I had my master's in marriage and family therapy, like I knew that we had to ask and talk about all these like really important questions so that you don't get married and then find out later that you're not on the same page. So before we got married, we talked about how, like, do we want to have kids? How many kids? What would we do if we couldn't have kids? All that kind of stuff. We talked about if for some reason we couldn't have kids, that we would adopt or foster, like all these things. And so we actually had 3 miscarriages. And going through that, he realized that he did not want to have kids anymore. And I wasn't ready to give up on that. I wanted to still have kids. And so when he had the courage to tell me finally that like that's what he was experiencing, he told me on this trip. And then I almost immediately was like, this is the end. Like I basically just like knew. And it's interesting because as I'm talking about this right now, it's making me think of this one specific rock formation that has like a fertility goddess. It's really interesting. I never really put that part together. So anyways, I just knew like, okay, this is the end, because I knew that if we stayed together, I would resent him because I really wanted to have kids, and I just felt like he was changing the whole plan up on me. And so I promise this leads to how I got into tarot. While we were there, one of the options of a treatment or a service that you could have was a tarot reading by a professional. And so I decided to get one. And so she did this reading, and the very first card of my reading was the Tower. And if you know tarot, you know that the Tower is oftentimes like the most dreaded card, the scariest card. And yeah, so that's what I got. I really wish I had pulled it so I could show you. Here we go. So the Tower, right? It's like this scary, like disaster card. And it was essentially like, yeah, everything that you've like trusted in your life is kind of crumbling down. And a lot of big life changes are coming and everything like that. And it really resonated. It gave me a lot to think about. It was a long session, and yeah, there was a lot that I was able to just think about and process. And then I actually can't remember if it was her. I think it was actually a different person that worked with me later, because I also had Reiki treatments there. I had all sorts of things, and meditations, like one-on-one sometimes, and then spa treatments. I think it was actually a different practitioner though that told me that I should get this one app called the Golden Tarot app, that to like start being able to pull cards for myself. And it was just a free app, and it would like help teach me tarot. I actually still use it literally every day. It's been over 3,000 days that I pull a card on that app every single day. It doesn't use AI. I'm anti AI and tarot or spirituality. No generative AI for things like that, and or at all, to be honest. And so I started doing that, and that was how my daily practice started. So I would every single day pull a card in the app, screenshot it. So I also have a record of every single card that I pulled for myself every single day for over 100 months now. And yeah, that's how I got started with tarot. And there was so many like intuitive messages that I was getting that weekend, and just connections that I was making, and things that are like that like unfolded for me. And yeah, so it came into my life right as I was about to have like one of my biggest upheavals in my life as well.